Today, let's make a cup of hot tea, calm down, and travel back in time to 1966, in the foggy land of England, amidst cold drizzle and hostility from European audiences. The Uruguayan team stepped onto the World Cup stage as giants cornered. They carried the blood of Garra Charrúa, the ancient warrior spirit ready to shed blood rather than bow down. Although that journey ended in controversy and tears in the quarterfinals against West Germany, that generation of players left a legacy that went far beyond the boundaries of 90 minutes of play, nearly 60 years. A life has passed. The young men of 1920 with jet black hair, now some have passed away. Some have passed to the other side of life. Let me turn the pages of memory to tell the tragic life story of the historical witnesses of Uruguay. 1966. Ladislao Mazurkiewicz stood tall, a dark, cold, and authoritative figure in the Uruguay goal that year. At the age of 21, he was not only a goalkeeper, he was a hypnotist in front of the goal nicknamed El Chiquito. Mazurkiewicz performed brilliantly in England. He kept a clean sheet against the host team. England in the opening match frustrating the top strikers of France. His reflexes were not hasty, but the result of his genius ability to read the game. He stood there calm as a statue, the most solid mental support for his teammates. Fighting above. Upon returning from England, Mazurkiewicz did not stop at star status. He went straight into the pantheon of legends. He became a living god at Peñarol, conquering all the peaks of South America and the world with this team. The peak of his career came in 1970, when he led Uruguay to the World Cup semifinals and created a classic moment with the king of football, Pelé. After years of fighting in Brazil, Atlético Mineiro, and Colombia, he returned home, hung up his gloves, and chose a life away from the spotlight. In real life, Mazurkiewicz was the embodiment of humility. He never raised his voice, never boasted about his achievements. He chose to coach goalkeepers. At Peñarol, cycling to the training ground every day, teaching the younger generation how to do things. He lived a simple life, respected not only for his talent, but also for his character as a true gentleman in the hustle and bustle of life. However, the plastic hands that once blocked the world could not stop the law of birth, aging, sickness, and death. On January 2, 2013, Ladislao Mazurkiewicz breathed his last in Montevideo at the age of 67 due to kidney failure and respiratory complications. He left, taking with him the secret of eternal composure, leaving a huge void in the goal of world football history. Horacio Troche. The 31-year-old captain was the embodiment of Uruguay's fiercest flame and greatest tragedy at the tournament. With his uncompromising style of play, Troche was the rock that stopped every attack. But fate chose him as the main character in the sad drama at Wembley. A controversial red card in the quarterfinal against Germany and an infamous slap to the face of Uwe Seeler turned him into a villain in the eyes of the European media. But for the Uruguayan people, the image of him leaving the field with his head held high was a symbol of resistance to injustice. After that shocking incident, Troche made a brave decision. He did not run away. He moved to Germany, the place that once booed him, wearing the shirt of Alemania, Aachen, and conquering the audience with his real talent. Then fate led him to drift to Mexico, where he found a second home. Here he became a veteran coach and then a successful businessman. Troche's life in Mexico was a colorful picture. He opened a Uruguayan-style grill restaurant where he personally cooked and served diners. He lived generously and cheerfully, always ready to tell the story of 1966. Not with regret, but with the pride of a man who dared to do and dare to bear. From a butcher on the field, he became the kind Don Horacio loved by the community. The captain's tumultuous journey ended on July 14, 2014. Horacio Troche passed away in Morelia, Mexico, at the age of 83. He lived a full life from the eye of the storm of criticism to the shore of peace. Pedro Rocha, nicknamed El Verdugo. The executioner arrived in England at the age of 23 as South America's brightest star, the only one comparable to Pelé. In terms of technique, Rocha played like a poet, each touch a stroke of art. Although Uruguay were eliminated, early Rocha's class was something that Europe coveted. He was the brain, the heart of La Celeste's attacking play. Rocha's career was a glorious epic, but also full of tragic notes. He became a god in Sao Paulo, Brazil, revered by fans here more than the native stars. He was the only Uruguayan player to participate in 4 consecutive World Cups, 1962 to 1974. However, Rocha's tragedy was that injuries always came to him at the most important moments of the World Cups, preventing his talent from being fully realized at the team level. Off the pitch, in contrast to the fearsome nickname, the executioner, Rocha was an extremely gentle, quiet, and introverted man. He devoted all his love to his family and football, living a scandal-free life. But in his final years, fate dealt him a cruel blow. Ventricular muscular atrophy caused him to gradually lose the ability to walk and communicate. On December 2, 2013, one day before his 71st birthday, Pedro Rocha was freed from physical pain. He passed away in Sao Paulo, leaving behind endless sorrow for the 2 football nations of Brazil and Uruguay. The genius has gone to heaven, taking his magical legs with him to eternity. Nestor Tito Gonçalves was the backbone, the lungs of the team. He didn't play for show, he played to win with his hard work, intelligence, and natural leadership. Gonçalves was the rhythm setter, the most authoritative voice on the pitch, galvanizing the team in the fiery Wembley heat. The story of Gonçalves is the most standard definition of the word loyalty. His whole life, from the beginning until the end, he only wore the yellow and black shirt of Peñarol. He refused huge suitcases of money from Real Madrid and River Plate to stay in Montevideo. He and Peñarol won 3 Copa Libertadores and 2 Intercontinental Cups, becoming an immortal monument. After retiring, he did not choose the path of business or politics, but continued to contribute to the club in a managerial role. His life was peaceful and fulfilled with a virtuous wife and successful children. His son also became a Peñarol player. He was a symbol of an era where honor and loyalty were more important than money. The giant of Uruguayan football fell on December 29, 2016 in Montevideo at the age of 80. His passing was the end of a romantic era where player and club were an eternal love. Omar Cacho. Caetano, 27, was the epitome of tenacity and versatility. He could play left-back, center-back, or defensive midfielder. At the 1966 World Cup, Caetano was a tireless warrior ready to throw himself into any hotspot. He played with a survival instinct so fierce that he made his opponents wary. Like Gonçalves, Caetano is a Peñarol legend. He holds an unprecedented record, the player with the most appearances in the classic Uruguayan football derby, Peñarol versus Nacional, that proves the steely character of this man. After the spotlight, Caetano chose the life of a hermit. He completely withdrew from the noisy football world, living a simple life in his hometown. He rarely appeared in the media, keeping his memories of the fiery times in silence. On July 2, 2008, the silent warrior Omar Caetano passed away at the age of 69. He passed away, quietly without the noise of his actions on the field, leaving behind deep respect in the hearts of fans. Julio César Cortés, nicknamed El Pocho, is the soft touch of Uruguay's attack. At 25, he scored the crucial goal against France that helped Uruguay advance to the group stage. Cortés possesses skillful technique, speed, and a modern, footballing mindset, providing the necessary breakthrough when the home team is stuck. After the World Cup, Cortés became a great nomad. He did not sit still but took his talent across the Americas, playing in Argentina, Costa Rica, and the United States. After hanging up his boots, he became a prominent coach in Central America, considered the godfather of Guatemalan football when he led the team to regional championships. His life was a series of tireless flights. He was a great storyteller, a living witness connecting football across cultures. Although he lived far away from his homeland, his heart was always with the celeste shirt. Today, at the age of over 80, Julio César Cortés is still alive and well. He is one of the few remaining witnesses of the 1966 generation, still lucid and continuing to pass on his passion to his descendants. Jorge Manachera, 27 years old, was a gentleman in the center of defense. Different from the usual rough look of Uruguayan defenders at that time, he played with his mind, judged the situation, and cut the ball cleanly instead of using physical strength. In England, he was the perfect partner, softening the toughness of Captain Trochet. Manachera's talent brought him to Brazil to play for Flamengo, where he was loved by samba fans for his flamboyant and technical style of play. After retiring, Manachera chose the life of a normal civil servant, working and taking care of his family. He was a quiet, humble man, always maintaining the polite demeanor of an intellectual. On September 18th, 2012, Jorge Manachera passed away at the age of 73. He passed away peacefully, leaving behind the image of an exemplary central defender who proved that defending is also a beautiful art. Luis Ubiña. 26 is like a tank on the right wing. With an ideal physique and abundant strength, he attacks and defends. Tirelessly, Ubiña is a reliable stopper, locking down the most tricky wingers in Europe with determination and discipline. After the tournament, Ubiña became the legendary captain of FC Nacional. His peak was lifting the 1971 Club World Cup. He was a straightforward, outspoken leader, always taking the lead in protecting the rights of his fellow players. After retiring, he served as president of the Uruguayan Footballers Association, continuing to fight for social justice. On July 17, 2013, Luis Ubiña passed away at the age of 73. His passing was a great loss to the national family, leaving behind an example of a man of integrity and courage. Milton Vieira surprised the experts with his maturity beyond his age. When he was the youngest in the main squad at the age of 20, he possessed sharp tactical thinking and skillful individual techniques. The 1966 World Cup was the stage that brought his name to the world. Vieira was one of the first Uruguayan players to achieve great success in Europe. He became a living legend in Greece with Olympiacos and AEK Athens. In the land of the gods, Vieira is revered as the brightest star. Now at the age of 78, Milton Vieira is enjoying a peaceful old age. He still regularly follows. Football is the pride of Uruguay on the old continent and is a testament to the export talent of his country's football. Domingo Perez brings a wealth of battle experience to England. He is not as quick as he was in his youth, but he makes up for it with his positioning and cunning. He is the big brother in attack, guiding his younger brothers through the psychological pressure. After a brilliant career with 2 Copa America championships, Perez chose a simple life away from all the noise. He lived the life of a loyal fan, always following the footsteps of the national team. In February 2024, sad news came to fans when Domingo Perez passed away at the age of 87. He was one of the last witnesses of that generation to leave us for eternity. José El Pepe Sacia, 32, is the freak of the team. He is known for his tricky yet extremely effective street style of play. Sacia is a nightmare for opposing goalkeepers and defenders because of his tenacity and ability to seize opportunities in the penalty area. Sacia's life after football was as colorful and dusty as the way he played. He worked as a coach, famous for his generous personality, humor, and immortal anecdotes over drinks. He lived each day to the fullest, loved life and people in his own way. On August 30th, 1996, José Sacia's passionate heart stopped beating after a heart attack at the age of 62. The talented madman was gone, but his arrogant smile remains in the minds of Peñarol fans. Pablo Forlán arrived in England as a reserve for the future. Although he did not play a single minute breathing the top air with his seniors, has molded the character of one of the greatest defenders in South American history. He is a seed sprouting in the cold soil of England. After the 1966 World Cup, Pablo Forlán rose to become a giant. He was an irreplaceable pillar of Peñarol in their golden period, winning every noble title. But the biggest turning point was when he moved to Brazil to play for Sao Paulo, in the land of samba, where attacking football is revered. Forlán conquered everything with his powerful, disciplined, and courageous defensive style. He was revered by Sao Paulo fans as an idol, El Gran Capitán, the great captain. But Pablo Forlán's greatest legacy is not just trophies. He is the creator of a royal family of Uruguayan football. He is the father of Diego Forlán, who brought glory to the family with the Golden Ball Award at the 2010 World Cup. Pablo has passed on to his son not only his genes but also his dignity as a gentleman on the field. Today, at 79, Pablo Forlán is living the most fulfilling days of his life. He is a beloved godfather of Uruguayan football, always appearing with an elegant appearance and a proud smile when seeing the generations of his children continuing the family tradition. He is living proof that the old bamboo grows new bamboo and the Garra Charrúa bloodline will never run dry. Victor Esparrago arrived in England at the age of 21. The young midfielder for Nacional sat on the bench watching and learning every moment. Little did anyone know that the quiet young man possessed a tactical mind ahead of his time. He wasn't just watching football, he was analyzing it. If 1966 was the lesson, 1970 was Esparrago's stage. At the World Cup, 4 years later in Mexico, it was he who scored the decisive goal against the Soviet Union, in the 117th minute, sending Uruguay into the semi-finals. Club career was spent with Nacional, where he won his first Intercontinental Cup. After hanging up his boots, Esparrago's superior intellect made him a famous coach in Spain. He led humble teams like Recreativo de Huelva Cádiz or Albacete to create miracles. He is respected in La Liga as a professor of football who laid the foundations for a disciplined and scientific style of play. He is a bridge between the football culture of Uruguay and Spain. Now 80, Victor Esparrago is enjoying his retirement traveling between Spain and Uruguay. He rarely appears in public, but his comments on football are still full of weight and depth. A great mind now resting after a lifetime of dedication. Emilio Alvarez, nicknamed Cococho 27, was a special case. Despite being a world-class central defender, he was left out of the 1966 World Cup due to the coach's tactical calculations. But as the older brother, Cococho never complained. He accepted his role as a substitute with absolute professionalism, providing moral support for his younger brother Eliseo and the team. If Nestor Gonçalves is the symbol of Peñarol, then Emilio Alvarez is the god of the great rival, Nacional. He holds the eternal record, the player with the most appearances in the history of the national club with over 500 matches. He was nicknamed Mr. Wembley for his aristocratic style of play. Despite being South American, Cococho was known for his flamboyant style of play, rarely committing fouls. It was said that his shorts were still clean after every match, because he won the ball with his judgment, not with muddy tackles. He lived an exemplary life, loyal and full of pride, the idol of idols at Nacional. However, the journey of this gentleman ended on April 22, 2010, Emilio Cococho Alvarez passed away at the age of 71 in Montevideo. He left taking with him the last elegance of a romantic football era, leaving behind an unforgettable memory for the half of Montevideo that wore the blue and white jersey. Eliseo Alvarez, 25, was Emilio's younger brother. The Alvarez brothers were both in the squad for England, making for an interesting story unlike his. Flamboyant brother Eliseo was a more tough and fierce player. Although he did not play in the 1966 tournament, his reputation for bravery had been established in the 1962 World Cup, where he refused to leave the field, despite a broken leg against the Soviet Union. Eliseo's career was one of adventure. After leaving Nacional, he was not afraid to challenge himself abroad, playing for clubs in Ecuador, LDU Quito, and Colombia. Wherever he went, he left his mark as a warrior who never knew pain. Eliseo's life off the pitch was quieter than his famous brother. He lived modestly, rarely spoke of the past, but was always proud of what he had contributed. He embodied the thorny side of the Uruguayan spirit, enduring pain to complete the mission. Tragically, this brave warrior passed away too soon. In 1999, Eliseo Alvarez died suddenly at the age of 59. His death left a huge shock to his family and his brother Emilio. The younger brother went before him, leaving behind an unfinished story of brotherhood and the football blood that flows through the Alvarez family. Walter Taibo was the oldest veteran in the squad that year at 35 years old. He came to England not to compete with the young talent Mazurkiewicz for the starting position, but to be a teacher, a psychological mentor. Taibo's vast experience was an invaluable asset in the dressing room, helping the young goalkeepers stay calm under terrible pressure. Taibo's career was a strange and rare one. He was a legend at Nacional, but at the end of his career he moved to arch rivals, Peñarol, and also enjoyed great success winning the 1966 Libertadores with Peñarol, but not starting in the final. He also moved to Argentina to play for Huracan and was loved for his lightning reflexes despite his modest height. After retiring, Taibo lived a long life. He became a living history of Uruguayan football, witnessing the transition of many generations. He always spoke of Mazurkiewicz with the pride of a father, talking about his son without jealousy, but full of tolerance. The veteran goalkeeper's steadfast journey came to an end on January 10, 2021. Walter Taibo passed away at the age of 89. He was one of the last of the 1966 generation to leave this world, closing the book on a dedicated life in the woodwork. Luis Ramos, a 26-year-old player in the prime of his career. Ramos was an interesting case in football. At that time, he started as a striker with a sharp to score goals, but also had enough tactical thinking to play deep as a defender when needed. At the 1966 World Cup, although he did not get a minute on the field, due to the stability of the main frame, Ramos' versatility was a trump card that the coaching staff always kept up their sleeves. He was someone who practiced quietly, ready to fill any hole if a teammate fell. Luis Ramos's club career was spent with Nacional, one of the two giants of Uruguayan football. He was an idol at Gran Parque Central, famous for his intelligent playing style and exquisite finishing technique. He fought with Nacional through many fierce Copa Libertadores seasons, leaving his mark as a dedicated player who always put the collective interest above his own ego. But Luis Ramos's greatest legacy to Uruguayan football is not just his own goals. He is a father who has sown and nurtured a generation of talented successors. His two sons, Luis Eduardo Ramos and especially Leonardo Ramos, former national team player, now a famous coach in Uruguay, have both followed in their father's footsteps. He has passed on to his children not only his footballing genes, but also his character, humility, hard work, and perseverance. In his final years, Luis Ramos lived quietly, happily watching his children succeed on the coaching bench. However, on a sad day in the midst of the pandemic, March 14th, 2021, Luis Ramos' heart stopped beating at the age of 81 due to health problems. He passed away, leaving behind a proud father-to-son legacy, a beautiful story about the football bloodline that flows endlessly in a family. Sosa, at 31, is an experienced goalkeeper who has experienced all the glory and bitterness. His acceptance of being a secondary actor for his 21-year-old junior is not a step down, but a noble sacrifice of a senior. Sosa is there to remind, to encourage, and to share the psychological burden for Spider-Man Mazurkiewicz. Roberto Sosa is a legend of the national club. In the 60s, he was the most reliable stopper, the one who protected the national goal in classic matches against Pele's Santos or Mazurkiewicz's Peñarol. He was famous for his solid ball-catching style, reasonable entry and exit, and especially his ability to command the defense. He did not fly around with fancy. He caught the ball with calculation and experience. After retiring, Sosa chose a very normal life. He did not pursue a professional coaching career, but returned to being a citizen who loved football. People often saw him in the stadium stands watching his old team with fond eyes. He embodied the old values, playing for passion and living for honor. On June 27, 2008, former goalkeeper Roberto Sosa passed away in Montevideo at the age of 73. He passed away the same year as his teammate Omar Caetano, as if old friends had made an appointment to go to the eternal world together. His passing left national fans mourning the loss of a dedicated goalkeeper who had spent his youth keeping a clean sheet for his beloved team.